Hi, readers. When you were in first, second, and even third grade, you learned how to retell the big events of a story. That means that you really summarized what the story was about and you talked about the big important parts, not every single detail, because that would take forever. But now in fourth grade, we're going to push that a step further. Today's goal is to read intensely by retelling the events chronologically, and here's the important part, by synthesizing. So let's start with the chronological retell that we've done in the past. Let's retell the little bit of There's a Boy in the Girl's Bathroom. Think back to the beginning of the story and all that you've already read. And maybe you're going to turn and tell your sibling or a parent, or maybe you're sitting in a room doing this on your own, so you're just going to think to yourself the important parts. Great. So I know some of you are thinking, well, this story starts off with our main character, Bradley, and he's in school. And we see that in school, he struggles both academically and socially. We see that he's the kind of kid that sits by himself, is scribbling, not doing his work. Yeah, school's like pretty tough for him. Later, we see him at home. And at home, he has a family. He has a mother, a father, and a sister. But their relationship isn't that great. I mean, his dad we see is very strict. His sister, they seem like annoyed by each other. And Bradley lies a lot to his mom. For example, he lies to her about report card day and things like that. Later on, we're introduced to this new character, Jeff. And although they have a rocky start, who could forget, give me $1, I'll spit on you, they end up growing the friendship. But now that I'm up to chapter 18, I see that friendship is also over. Just as quickly as it started, it's gone. Boys and girls, do you see how we just chronologically retold the story? And we didn't talk about every single part of the story, but we were very quick to summarize. Now we're going to push that a step further to synthesize. And here's a reminder. When you're synthesizing, you're going to retell only the part that you've just read. So for me, I'm going to show you what that means. I'm only going to think about chapter 18 because I just reread this chapter. And then you're going to reference relevant backstory. So after I retell this part, I'm going to think back to what I already know, to what the chapters that I've already read, as long as they're relevant. Okay. So in chapter 18, guys, I see that Jeff's playing basketball with his new friends. And Bradley starts to think, maybe I'll get to play with him too because that's what Carla said. So then, Bradley is seeking his friend and trying to get his attention, but Jeff blows him off again with his other friends, and he even laughs. When Brian says things like chicken chockers, Jeff's like, yeah. So then we see that a hurt Bradley goes home, he takes out his figurines, and he continues to play with them and pretend to have a great time with them and laugh. So I just tried to summarize chapter 18. And now I'm thinking to a relevant part that I read in the past. Well, in the past, when Bradley was meeting with Carla, she was telling him, Jeff can have other friends, it's okay. And Bradley kept insisting, no, I'm his only friend. And now I'm thinking that, you know what? Bradley was so insistent that he be Jeff's only friend because he was afraid. And I see what he was afraid of now. This was his fear, that he would lose his friend. And look, it happened. Also, in the past, the first 3 chapters, when I was introduced to Jeff as a character, I really thought Jeff was a perfect kid. It sounds like he's super great academically, and he's kind, because he tried to seek Bradley and be his friend and introduce himself. But now in chapter 18, I'm kind of changing my mind. I'm thinking that Jeff's not that great. He's really changing, and for the worse. Boys and girls, did you see how I just read one chapter? I tried to retell that chapter, summarize it, and then I thought back to other parts of the book that I already read, as long as they were relevant. You try. You're going to read intensely for 45 minutes. Then you're going to stop and jot. Make sure to pause to synthesize. The decision about when and how you retell depends on you. When you go off today, I know you'll make those choices and that you'll also draw on all that you know about reading fiction. Off you go. Bye, readers.